Happy family, what's going on? It's your boy Jay Murray here to share some exciting news from your people from Anchor. Hey, if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's an easy way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First of all, it's free. There's creation tools that will allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone and computer. I know, right? Very easy. Anchor will then distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can even make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Happy family, this is your boy Jay Murray.
The podcast.
Message. What's going on, family? How you doing? And welcome back to the neighborhood. It's your favorite neighbor here, Jay Murray, and you listen to Happy Hood, the podcast, where we connect, cultivate, and build. You know, Happy Hood is a state of mind. We blessed up and highly favored. Oh man, what's going on, family? And welcome to the neighborhood. I'm so glad you decided to join us today for Happy Hill, the podcast. This is season 4. Yes, season 4. And we talking about happy living. It's a state of mind. Happy living. It's a state of mind. We got some amazing, phenomenal individuals that truly, I believe, embody the mission, the value of Happy Hood. You know, Happy Hood, we are a purpose-driven lifestyle brand committed to the betterment of the humanity. And, you know, one thing that a couple things we believe in connecting with like-minded individuals, cultivating purpose, passion, ideas, and building relationships, networks, communities that are centered around health, honoring the mind, body, and soul. Agape, demonstrating God's love to the world, power, continuous self-learning, and institute, fostering a community-based economy. Message. Yes, indeed. Yes, come on in, and welcome to the neighborhood. So, hey, happy family, we got another dynamic guest for you today. That's really, I think, really just going to be just a wonderful kind of kick back and relax and listen to some wisdom, some tidbits that this brother has really have lived through and really have put into a book, you know. So we definitely going to get into our guest. But before we do that, it is happy thought time. Inhale, meditate, exhale, meditate. And today's happy thought is kind of, I got to go to the scripture, y'all. I got to go to the scripture today. You know, every morning, you know, as I said before, Happy Hood, we are a purpose-driven lifestyle brand committed to the betterment of humanity. And the way that we do that is we do it by connecting, cultivating, and building. So every Saturday, I guess almost for the last 2 years, I got my group fitness certification. So I lead a group fitness class. It's virtual, and it's through Happy Hood. We call it Happy Hood Scriptures and Squats. And each morning, 9 o'clock, we'll come together, we'll read a scripture, and we'll do a workout, right? And again, like I said before, it's a wonderful opportunity to connect with people. But more importantly, as I think about the workout today is, you know, kind of feed off each other's strength, right? It is so cool when you can work out with others because, you know, when you work out yourself, yeah, you can go easy a little bit because nobody watching. But, you know, when you have people that's working out with you, even virtually, you kind of have this accountability, in which I really appreciate. So more to come on that. But, you know, the scripture that we talked about today came from Judges, and it was basically Gideon. You know, if you know, for all my church folks out there, if you're familiar with Gideon, and if you're not, that's definitely okay. It came, you know, Gideon was an Israelite, and you know, in the discussion around Gideon in Judges was basically based on the Israelites being oppressed from Midianites. So the Midianites was oppressing the Israelites, and other eastern clans was coming in and invading the land and really oppressing the Israelites. And God pretty much was raising up a warrior, Gideon, to help fight them off. And through the scripture in which we read, chapter 6, verse 12 through 17, a couple of things that stood out that I want to share with you is that one, as Gideon was out in the field, the angel of the Lord came to him, and I'm kind of paraphrasing this, so definitely go back and read it. So the angel of the Lord came to him. He said, "The Lord is with you, mighty warrior." And I, again, as I was kind of thinking about it and meditating on it, and it is so cool, and I must say, just wonderful that even though we go through different situations and different challenges, that when God calls us, he calls us by what he sees in us. God calls us by what he sees in us, not by our situation, you know what I'm saying? Not by our circumstance. He calls us by what he sees in us. And it was just such a wonderful kind of confirmation to kind of meditate on that. Right. And then, throughout the couple verses as Gideon's kind of talking to the angel of the Lord, it's like, are you sure you want me to do this? Because Gideon came from, at that time, what he felt was the weakest of the clans. It came from the tribe of Manasseh, which was a part of the Israel tribe. And he felt like, I'm from the weakest of the tribe. Like, you sure you want to you calling me to do this, to fight these big old Midianites, And God told him, the angel of the Lord said, "Go in the strength that you have, and I will be with you, and you will strike down the Midianites." And as I thought about that, family, I thought about this again from the perspective of, as he said, go in the strength that you have. And so many times we may look at the resources that we have. We may look at the situation that we have, and we may feel like, I don't got that much. I got very little. But again, throughout this whole time, God is really trying to get Gideon to understand that I'm going to be with you, and I'm going to help guide you through this process. And all you need to do is just start, right? So all you need to do is just start a business. All you need to do is just start writing the grant. All you need to do is just start raising the kids. All you need to do is just start trusting God, and it had me think about that, especially as an entrepreneur where, I get kind of stuck in my own ways and just am pretty much talking myself out of something, because I may feel like, well, I need this, I need that. And again, God said, you know what, just go with your strength you got. Go with the iPhone that you got. You don't need these fancy cameras, all this stuff. Go with the iPhone you got and get started, and I will continue to help you through the process, So again, happy family. I just want to kind of share that because that was definitely on me. That one, God calls us by what he sees in us, not by what our situation is. And two, as God told Gideon to go in the strength that you have, and I will be with you. Again, start where you at. Don't worry about, all the different things, the resources. If you don't have that, you don't have this, start where you at, and God will do the rest, So that's your happy thought. Inhale, meditate, exhale, meditate. And yes, indeed. Welcome again to Happy Heal the Podcast, season 4. We are talking about happy living. It's a state of mind. What you say?
We talking about
happy living. It's a state of mind. And we got another wonderful guest here on the podcast that I truly believe is going to impart some wisdom to everyone. And really just, kind of provide just some life lessons, that I truly believe that we can apply to so many different aspects of our life. So, this individual, he is a leadership coach, motivational speaker. He's an author with more than 20 years in leadership. This dude has shared his formula for success, right? His formula for success through what he calls the core principles of humility, authenticity, resilience, and persistent faith. Again, I'm gonna read that again. Humility, authenticity, resilience, and persistent faith, and which he calls these principles the HARP method. And this dude wrote a book which is called Hold Your Corner. discovering the secrets to successful leadership through humility, authenticity, resilience, and persistent faith. Happy family, I want you to give a big welcome to the neighborhood, my friend, Mr. Patrick Griffin.
Thank you, Jay Murray.
What's going on, Patrick, man? How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. How are you today?
I'm blessed, man. I'm blessed, man. I'm so pumped, man, that we had a chance to do this. Happy family. Last year, as we all had to kind of pivot due to the pandemic. I'm grateful for our mutual friend Dante. What's going on, D? For bringing us together and which was thinking about doing an event, and of course the pandemic happened, and we had to kind of pivot a little bit, but I'm grateful that we definitely have an opportunity for you to come on and really just share your insights around leadership. And again, as I said before, man, this is an amazing book, Happy Family, which I'll have it on the I'll post it when we release the episode. But I would definitely encourage anyone that's going through career change or just getting out of college, or someone that's young, someone starting a business. I highly recommend you read this book. There's so much life lessons. There's so much, real experiences that you can apply. It kind of has this "who moved my cheese" type of feel to it, man. So again, I really want to congratulate you, Patrick, for doing this and really being vulnerable and sharing your experiences, my man.
Oh, Jay Murray, thank you. I'm actually honored and humbled to be here with you today, to share with you and your audience. I'm just excited and ecstatic, and I truly hope that something I say today really can be a blessing and can help someone.
Yeah, man. Yeah, truly, man. So I guess, Patrick, let's start with, man, like, tell us a little bit about your upbringing, man.
Oh, I came from a modest upbringing. I was born and raised in Greenville, South Carolina.
SC.
I was very fortunate that I had both my mother and my father in the household with me my entire time, but very middle class family.
Mm-hmm.
I have a brother, Floyd Michael. I always say I was the unwanted child because we were 15 years apart. So, well, we are 15 years apart, but just came from very humble, modest beginnings.
Yeah.
Small town living. Family was everything.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just your family. And I had a large family. On my mom's side, it was 10 of them, and my dad, they had 10 as well. So
yeah.
I had large families, but it also was the community too.
Yeah, man.
But very humble and modest beginnings.
Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. It's amazing as you kind of speak about, large family, because my dad, he came from a family of eight or nine. Then my mom, she came from a family of 10. And, having that type of family and that community, right? To not only, rely on your immediate family, but you had the community too as well, man. So when you think about it takes a village to raise a child, like, it was definitely that, man. It was definitely that, man. So as you come from this humble beginning and having a very how can I put this, supporting type of background and structure, what really led you to write the book, man, of Hold Your Corner?
So yeah, because let me tell you something, Jay Murray.
Yeah.
If anybody had said that Patrick Griffin was going to be an author writing a book, I'd have told them you're crazy. I even think I put that in the book. But to be truly honest, I'm serious, man. To be truly honest, a little bit more about my family background.
Yeah.
My mom was my dad's second wife.
Okay.
He lost his first wife to she died from diabetes. She had diabetes really.
Yeah.
Had a real challenge with diabetes. So he lost her, and so then he married my mom. So my dad was a much older. Just to give you perspective, he died back in December of 2006, and he was 84 when he passed, and I was 31.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm saying all that to say, I came from that old school. My dad was a World War II veteran.
Yeah.
He went through the Great Depression. He went through all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So he raised me different, and
Yeah.
he raised us different, and I'm very appreciative to it. But like I said, I lost him on December 24th, Christmas Eve of 2006.
Wow.
And if especially being African American, when it's time to plan the funeral, my mom comes out with all these obituaries for us to try to, how that goes.
Yeah,
how
yeah.
the mom it's like stacks, and so you got in loving memory, celebrating the life, or celebrating. And I came across one that says a life and legacy. And Jay Murray, it was at that moment that it really resonated with me, the legacy that my dad had, that he had, the impact he had. An ordinary guy. He wasn't nobody, but he had such a profound legacy.
Yeah.
And from that point forward, I'm serious. When I was sitting there looking at all those obituaries, and I knew it was going to be celebrating the life and legacy.
Yeah.
I was determined and committed to myself that I was going to preserve his legacy in some fashion. So, when you lose a parent, when you lose anybody close to you, you go through a process. So it was a grieving process. There was times where I said I was going to start a nonprofit.
Yeah.
There were times I struggled. And then finally one day he just said, the world needs to know about this legacy, so put it in the form of a book.
Wow.
So the book is really a tribute to my dad, because when I look back on it, when I look back on it, all of the life lessons, all of the leadership lessons, everything I got from this man who had all of a 9th grade education.
Man, yeah.
So that was the inspiration behind Hold Your Corner.
Yeah. And when you think about and again, thank you for sharing, man. When you think about just your dad legacy, in which, as you mentioned, it wasn't necessarily he was this famous guy, or did whatever type of extravagant thing, but as you mentioned in the book, I remember you were saying that he was a man of his word. A man of integrity, right?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's what one of the most important things that I always remember.
Yeah.
My dad, when he shook your hand, and he had one of those hard handshakes.
Oh, yeah, them working man.
Yeah, bro. That was it. And he told me, he said, son, all you have is your word.
Yeah.
That's all you got.
Yeah.
We, especially African American, I'm not trying to, but we don't come with much. We don't have a lot.
Yeah.
And he said, so the only thing that you have is your word.
Yeah.
And keep it.
Yeah. Your word was definitely, where you stood on. If I said I was going to do something, I'm going to do something, right? And that integrity was all wrapped into it, man. I would love to get your thoughts, man, because you being raised in such a again, having an older father, having that wisdom that he's able to pass down to you, and you recognize that, I'm kind of, the way that I grew up is kind of different from what my friends may experience, that may have had a younger parents. Like, when did you kind of realize like how you was raised was somewhat different from your fellow friends?
I don't know. You say that, but I will say this, and so a lot of people, sometimes are raised by their grandparents.
Yeah.
So, but I will tell you this: I was in church all the time because my daddy was a church deacon. So
Come on,
church,
somebody.
in church.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
In church all the time. But and this story is in my book. But I tell you when it probably really, really hit me was when and my dad worked all the time. He left the house at 6 o'clock in the morning, and he didn't get home until 6 or 7 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And then he would eat, take a shower, get in the bed, and it's all over again.
Yeah.
And so one weekend, he said, "Son, get up." And I'm a teenager at this point. I'm 15 years old. He said, "And put on something halfway decent.
Yeah.
Put on some slacks, And I was like, cool. So I'm thinking, I'm looking at my mom, and she just had this look like, I don't know what's going on. And so I get together. I said, I'm thinking he's going to go buy something. I don't know what it was. So we get in the car. We pull up at this grocery store, Winn Dixie. I don't know if any of y'all familiar with
Oh, yeah, Winn Dixie. Come on now.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. we walk into Winn Dixon. I'm just following behind my dad. My dad, he said, let's go up here. I need to get something. So I follow behind him. And meanwhile, my dad retired. He was, so this is the kind of dad I had too, to let you know he's a little different.
Yeah.
He retired on a Friday from CF Sauers. CF Sauers is, if you ever ranch dressing, all that stuff, that's who the company who makes that, right?
Uh-huh.
And then on that Monday, he had another job bagging groceries at the Winn Dixie.
Man.
We didn't go to the Winn Dixie that he worked at. So
Yeah.
he said, I'm going here. And so when we walk up to the desk, he asked for the manager, and the manager came, and he said, hey, this is my son, Patrick. Patrick, this is your new boss. And I looked. I said, huh? He said, yeah. He told him, he said, he can work every Saturday all day. On Sundays, he can't come in till after 1 o'clock because he got to go to church first. Son, I love you. I'll see you at 6 o'clock when I pick you up. Dude, do you know how I look? Like, what the hell just happened? What happened?
Yeah.
So right then, I knew I was operating with somebody totally different.
Man, that was like, what? Like, yeah, that would have got me off right there. Like, oh, I'm gonna be working now. I'm gonna be working.
And because at that point, at the age of 15, you could only work like 15 hours a week.
Yeah.
And he made sure I had at least 14 in every week.
Yeah. So definitely learning about hard working, man.
Yeah.
At an early age, man. When you think about and again, I definitely want to get a couple things from the book here, man. But I'm just curious, when you think about today's time, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you feel like? Because I'm pretty sure there were many fathers like your father, right? That people can probably, as you say, even as grandparents. As I think about my grandma and definitely like working and working. She was like in the late 70s and even now as she almost turns 96, 97 this year. Still still going at it, man. And
that's a blessing.
Yes, man. And them just kind of having that, I don't know, man. I guess they used to call it gumpture. You know what I'm saying? Having that will to keep going and understanding hard work. When you think about, I guess now, and just, I don't know if it's the cultural shift, around hard working or just around leadership. But when you think about just certain things that you learn with your dad, what do you feel is certain things that's missing now, right? Whether it's the community, whether it's the church, right? Because you saying you going to church all the time, which I'm a PK, and church was part of my church was part of me being raised. Like the church helped raise me, right? I didn't always have to get in trouble with my mom and dad, but if I got in trouble with so those put me straight, you know what I'm saying? So, and I know church is now, different, right? Especially in our community. So I'm curious to know, just from your thoughts, man, looking at and reflecting, like, what do you think about now, today's time, and compared to those times that your father was living, and how he kind of, put you to work and got you to understand about hard work and understanding about integrity and saying, hey, you're going to work here Saturday, so you need to be here on time. And at 1 o'clock, that's when you're going to go in and work,
Yeah. I think it's the thing I would tell you from my perspective, in my opinion, I feel like what my parents and people, your parents, that they reminded us.
Yeah.
And so I have children. I got a 23-year-old, I have a 14-year-old, and I have a nephew son who is 17.
Mm-hmm.
And what I would say is this generation, this younger generation, see, we always, and I know my parents wanted better for me.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's anybody out here, they always are trying to create a path better than what they had.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think in our quest to do that, and we're very fortunate now. We don't have the struggles. Well, let me put it this way: it was prior to 2 years ago. Races and some of those things were a little more covered.
Mm-hmm.
It's been pulled back a little bit more now.
Yeah, exactly.
See a little bit. That's probably a whole different segment that you could do. But I feel like our kids have this entitlement mentality. And we as parents are so caught up in trying to provide and doing all that, that we got to slow down and make sure we, I remember when my son was like 5 or 6, and we were going somewhere, and he said he wanted something. I said, "Well, son, I don't have any money. I'm not gonna buy that."
Yeah.
And he said, "Well, you should just go to that machine and get the money out of that machine." And so,
man,
and that's what I'm saying. You see, they think because it's just this is how it is.
Yeah.
And I think as adults, we have to do a better job of reminding of from whence we've come.
Man.
And I think that's what's missing, is that we're so busy. And I won't say it's the kid's fault, because I'm gonna tell you what, my daughter, I did the same. Let me tell you something. I repeated what my dad did with me with my daughter. I kept telling her, "Child, you got to get you a job." "I'm trying. Nobody will have it. I'm trying that." I said, okay. But you're not going to just sit around here and eat up all this food and think everything's supposed to be, So I went down to Harris Teeter, down the street. I walked up to the desk. I said, "Hey, I have a very energetic, go-getting daughter who needs a job."
Yes.
And they said, "Well, bring her up here." Brought her up there, did the same thing. And I would tell you, I don't always agree with her hustle.
Yeah.
But let me tell you something. She's about working.
Yeah.
She's about getting her places.
Yeah.
I don't always agree with it.
Yeah.
And I just think, and Jay Murray, and that may sound real cliche, but I think it's on us as adults that we have got to shake the trees. We got to shake young people to say, what you see, we make it look easy, man. We make it look easy.
Yes.
And so, and that's why I wrote the book as well, so young people don't forget.
Yeah.
From whence your grandfather, your great grandfather, your grandmother, your great, they went through some stuff.
Yeah,
just
man.
so you could have this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So keep working. So I really put on us as adults that we got to keep reminding from whence we come. Yeah,
it's so true, man. It's so true, man, because I think every parent has had that moment where, my kids, like it can be something as, breakfast food, like, well, there's no more cereal, so eat something else. It's like, well, go to the store and get some more.
Right.
Like,
real simple.
That's real simple. Like, what do you mean? Like, then I want you to go to the store and get some. I'm like, look, I'm not about to do that right now. You eat something else.
And I'm gonna give you this, and we can get off. My son.
Yeah.
So when I got promoted to vice president, I felt it was a big accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
So I treated myself. I bought a 1970 Cutlass.
Oh boy, okay.
But I tell you, no, I paid $6,000 for it.
Oh wow.
And I restored it, and it's beautiful, man.
Man,
it's a beautiful. It took me 5 years.
Wow.
But let me tell you, and when my son, same age, he's probably like 6 or 7. When I first brought it home, and let him ride in it, you know what he says to me? He said, "Hey, Dad." He said, "So like when you die, I mean, I don't want you to die or nothing, but like when you die, that's mine, right?" You Man, he already done put me in the grave.
Puts you in the grave.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, that's like, well, hey, just hypothetically speaking, when you die, yeah,
they said it just like that. So when you die, that's mine, right?
Yeah.
I just want to make sure it's not going to Keanu.
And I guess that's the thing about it, that, and I'm glad, for myself, being an entrepreneur and I, still working 9 to 5. One thing this entrepreneur journey has taught me, man, is that you got to work for it. This thing about cutting corners. And I know, yes, the whole theory around, work smarter, not harder. And yes, that's definitely is applicable at times. But most of the times you still got to put in the work to work smarter.
Not most of the time.
All the time. Yes.
Not most of the time. It's all the time.
Yeah, it's all the time. And so it's interesting again. And as you said, man, we can definitely trade a lot of dead stories, man. But, going back to this book, Hold Your Corner. Discovering the secrets to successful leadership through humility, authenticity, resilience, and persistent faith. We talking to my good friend, Mr. Patrick Griffin, here on Happy Hill, the podcast. Patrick, like, where did the title come from?
It's all I told you. It was a dedication to my dad. And I remember he would always say this, but he really broke it down for me when I graduated college. And he said, son, and now I told you my dad had all the ninth grade education, but you could not tell him he wasn't the best, the smartest businessman this side of the Mississippi. And then he told me, he said, everything that I've learned about business, I've learned from the church. Because I told you he's a church deacon for over 40 years. He said, and what I've learned and what a minister told me was, every church building has four corners. Wherever you go, whatever the building is, he said, so whatever building you go work at, there's going to be four corners to that building. But he said, but the church isn't the building, it's the people. On the inside. He said, and when the church runs well and successful and is thriving is when everybody holds their corner. He said, what I mean is, he said, so what happens is if the preacher is meddling with the choirs, the choirs are meddling with the missionaries, the trustees are meddling with the ushers, he said, you're going to have total chaos. He said, so whatever you do, I don't know what you're going to do with this business degree, but whatever you do, hold your corner. And everything else will work itself out.
Man.
And that's just the model I've always went by, hold my corner.
Hold your corner.
And in today, I don't know your audience demographic, but that's just today's world of saying, stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane. And definitely stay in your lane. Run your race. You know what I'm saying?
That's just it.
Yeah, definitely, man. Well, throughout this book, one thing I must admit that I really enjoy is within the chapters at the end, you kind of give this perspective from the lens of, the man and the father, the son and the man, and then the son, the man, executive, and then provide lessons from the corner. Kind of talk us through those perspectives as you give, in each of those areas of the man, the father, the son and the man, and then the son, the man, the executive. It's kind of like this progression of thought and experiences that you provide to the audience through each of those 4 areas.
One of the things that I think, I'm going to say Americans, people, sometimes we struggle with is the application piece of it. It's always read this, go to this, take this class and do this. But then you got to take all that. How do I apply it?
Apply it, man. Come on, man.
When I was writing the book, I didn't want it to be your traditional corporate style leadership book. I wanted, if you want to be a better friend, a better dad, a better mom, a better husband, a better wife, or just a better person. There is something for you. And so what I tried to do is, you didn't understand and you still was confused of the principle in the book. I gave those stories to try to help readers and individuals put the application piece to it, to understand what that looks like in the real world. So that's the purpose of the story. Because I gave personal stories, like you said, for my dad, for me personal, and then the executive. So regardless of what track you're in or what are you wanting to pull from the book, hopefully there was something there. And then the tips at the end that helps you connect the dots to help you. Because like you said, what your whole foundation is about, it's helping. And that's what it was. That was the reason. That was the driver.
Yeah, man. I truly love that, man. That perspective, because to your point, no matter where you are in your life journey, you can glean to any of those perspectives, of understanding from the executive, understanding from the son, the man, and a couple that I definitely want you to expound on, if you don't mind. That I just felt like, man, I got to understand more about what happened, and one of them during the authenticity chapter, you kind of talk about when you led I guess, this new program at work. It was somewhat, dealing with claims, and it was basically denial management. And you pretty much met with some top executives, and you pretty much kind of like, you sure you want me to do this? Kind of taking this work that pretty much nobody wanted to take, and where you did it, but then you also provided some real, I guess, tidbits to the top executives of what we should do, man. So kind of talk through that, like what happened, man, and how did you get prepared for that, man?
Well, let me back up a little bit.
Yeah.
Something that you said a few minutes ago when you said we always have to work harder. That it's always about work. You said, and one of the things that I really tried to demonstrate through the book is I'm an African American male. I'm a minority. But I've never used that as a crutch or a reason why I cannot do something. So I do want to say to anybody who's listening, take race off the table.
Come on.
Whether you're a female, whether you're Asian American, African American, whatever you feel like the obstacle may be, take it off the table. How do you take it off the table? Is that you perform. So always remember that you are on stage.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times people want a promotion, or they say I'm ready for the next big thing. They don't start dressing nice, or they don't start
Pat
up until the job is posted. So you got to start that thing before it's even it's even a thought.
It's even a thought. Every day you're interviewing.
Right.
Come on now.
At a young age, I just went in and remember what my daddy always told me, son, you're going to always have to work harder and better than any. You're going to have to go in there and produce. And so I would go to work and I would perform. And one day, a vice president came and he says, Patrick, I think you can really help us with this initiative. I'm going to bring you to this meeting. So first of all, I didn't know I was going to the meeting. So I went in the meeting. And I was a manager at the time. And in this meeting, you have vice president, senior vice president. And they had asked me to do a little research before I came. And one of the things I always remember, my dad said, one of the things, regardless of where you come from, who you are, whatever, the one thing people cannot take from you is what you have inside of your head.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so these big time executives, I was sitting there like, what in the world? They was pointing fingers and doing all this stuff. And I just said, and they said, well, Patrick's done this. Tell them what you think. And I just said, hey, I understand that this is very challenging, but I want to make sure you all understand it's not one area that's the problem. Because see, everybody was pointing the finger at each other.
Yeah, yeah.
I said, but the way I look at it and the accounts that I looked at, everybody in this room has some responsibility to moving the needle in this.
Yeah.
And it was something along those lines. And so never get it. Russ Garen, he was a president at the time. He stopped by my office. And he said to me, the reason why he wanted me to lead that initiative, and I said, he said was how I handled myself in that meeting. Remember, I'm always going to show up as my authentic self.
Yeah, yeah.
He said, in the midst of executives pointing the finger, blaming, you took a responsibility. He said, you changed the whole tone of the meeting to make other people levels hot. You managed the situation up. Yeah. And you made people realize, we all have a dog in this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's going to take all of us to get the improvement. And that's why I say it was just me being my authentic self.
Yeah.
And I always tell individuals, especially young aspiring leaders, just leaders in general, it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Yeah, man.
It's cliche, but you got to live by that, because especially in work and in business, we got to be able to communicate. You got to have that candor.
Yeah.
And I think we're missing that a little bit. And that's why I just really stay behind. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. And that's how that started, man. And that was what propelled my career.
I can only imagine, man. Was there ever, and again, I like how you saying, being your authentic self, right? And I think at times, and something I had to learn, of my years of working, and, over, now 15 years and being a leader, 7 of those years, of one that I got to be me, you know what I'm saying? And I have to be my authentic self, excuse me. And this is the way that I'm going to deliver this message. Right. And, even though at times I'm kind of like, as I have, had opportunities to lead different things, I'm like, you want me to do this? And it's always people that remind me like, yeah, because you did this and you showed or you displayed, these traits that was so important for us to move forward in this, right? Whatever this was, right? And I'm wondering with you, was there, throughout your career, was there anyone that you felt that really saw in you, or believed in you, what you can do? And was it also what they saw kind of help you to be yourself, to be your authentic self?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to answer that. It was one of our senior vice presidents. His name is Orrin Wyatt.
Mm-hmm.
And one day, he would just, we were just talking cows. He swing by, and he would just, just what I would say, just, we would just chalk it up. We just talk and I think, there's these unconscious bias that people have, and but Orrin is nothing but salt of the earth. I don't think he's a racist, but he would just say, Patrick, wow, you dress so well. You have your clean cut.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are all these other perceptions of sometimes African American men out here. But Orrin never saw my color. He saw my performance.
Mm-hmm.
And he saw something in me that I didn't even see in myself.
Yeah, man.
And it was so much so that one day my mom called me and she said, "What are you doing up there on that job?" And I said, "I'm working." What? I mean, I was like, "Where'd that come from?"
Uh-huh.
She said, "We got the nicest letter today from a gentleman by the name of Orrin Wyatt. He didn't tell me he did it, but he wrote my parents a letter."
Oh, wow.
To tell them that they have never met, he had never met them,
mm-hmm.
but he knows that they are exceptionally great people because of the son that they have raised.
Yeah.
And when, man, when somebody can tell your parents that how awesome they are because of me, I mean,
make you feel good, man.
It makes you feel good. But what I'm saying, and so, a lot of times, as you say, in the workspace, there's this thing about leadership,
mm-hmm.
and when you have leadership, people get these two things confused: mentorship and sponsorship.
Yeah, come on now. Mm-hmm.
And so everybody wants to mentor. Nah, you may not want a mentor.
Yeah.
But everybody has to have to be successful is somebody who will sponsor somebody who is talking about you when you're not in the room.
Yeah.
So do you not think that if Orrin had enough wherewithal to handwrite my parents a letter, that when he was in the boardroom, that he wasn't also mentioned about Patrick? So he was a sponsor.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you got to carry yourself where people see your authentic self, because a lot of times people can see the potential that you don't even see.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So true, man. Happy family again. You listen to Happy Hill the podcast, season 4. Happy living is a state of mind. We're talking to the author of Hold Your Corner, Mr. Patrick Griffin. Patrick, I want to also talk about, these, again, these stories that you provide within the book around each of the areas, whether it's humility, authenticity, it's resilience, it's persistent faith. And one of them kind of stood out because if it's one that I feel we need more of, right? And it's around this growth mindset, right? That is also wrapped around humility, and that's pretty much this resilience, right? This grit, to keep going. And one thing that really stood out, man, was your story that you shared around when you played football, in which at the time I guess you felt I should probably play in the league. Your coach at the time said, "Hey, you're gonna be playing here as far as college," and you kind of like okay, yeah, sure, but then found out, hey, yeah, that's not the case, and you had to kind of quickly have some resilience to get back on, man. So like kind of like walk us through though that step to where again at the point you didn't know where you was going to college, and again opportunity kind of knocks, and then you take advantage of it.
Man, that was as a young man, a very trying time because I talked so much smack to my parents. Because they were like, you need to be filling out college application. I'm like, I got this, coach. It's the North Carolina A&T. And we took a trip up there, and coach said, Griffin, you better than the rest of them because you got your grades, you got above a 2.5. Above a 2.5, that's good, right? But anyway, he said, we just need to get you to gain some weight. I'm like, I'm already. But anyway, so I'm feeling good about this. And so we took road trips up there. We done filled out some paperwork. And so I told him, I said, look, I'm going North Carolina A&T. Coach, you got this.
Yeah.
And but my dad made it very clear. And because remember I told you what he said. It doesn't matter as long as you have it inside your head. Mm-hmm. So he was very clear that I was going to somebody's college.
Yeah.
And so when I got that call to the office, and he told us that, the coach that my friend up at A&T coach, he just got fired. We like, oh man, we hate to hear that, coach.
Yeah.
And then he said, we teenagers, really. And he said, well, y'all do know what that means, right? We like, nah, we're gonna get a new coach. He said, no, that means y'all not going off the table. Off the table.
That's off the table.
Oh. So yeah, man, I had to start applying, and for me, and I would share with you, Jay, that that was the first time I shared in this book the struggles I had, because I'm not the only one.
Yeah. But
I'm not a good standardized test taker.
Yeah.
To be honest, I probably got credit for to put my name on the thing. That's probably. I'm just not a good standardized test taker. To be honest, I had a decent GPA, but I just wasn't a good standardized test taker, and and that's what's heavily weighted.
Yeah.
To get you in college, so I was getting no, from every. And you know what, Jay? To be honest, and I talk a lot about my dad, but man, I got a mama of gold. Mm-hmm. My mama is just a phenomenal woman, and I never forget one night, because we kept getting all those no's, and her door to her bedroom was cracked, and I peeked in there, and she was on her knees and saying, praying, Lord, help my child. That's my child.
Yeah.
And it brought me to tears. Mm-hmm. And that's when I said, let me get myself together. So I got an acceptance letter with a butt from Winthrop University. Mm-hmm. I had to go through what they had called a STEP program. Mm-hmm. Because they had just rolled out a program where they identified people who struggled with standardized test taking, but still it appeared that their GPA showed they were a good student.
Yeah.
But you had to go through this 8-week program over the summer to get accepted. So I got accepted to STEP, and then I got accepted to Winthrop that summer, and the rest is history.
Man.
So that's kind of how. So yeah, man, it was a tough time, because I knew my dad said you got to go to school. You're going to school somewhere.
Yeah.
And I talked so much junk, man. So I had to deliver. Yeah.
And again, kind of seeing your mom, and again, like feeling, and I don't know if it's feeling, but now looking back and seeing the results from their prayer, you know what I'm saying? It's really you had this level of appreciation, for your parents, for doing that. For, grandma and them, praying for me, right. Had me on they heart.
Had me on their mind.
Exactly.
You talk about the resilience, and the piece of it you're talking about, brother, resilience. But let me just say this too. And it probably didn't resonate with me until I've had, everybody's had their obstacles along the way.
Yeah.
But resilience is not about getting back to where you were.
Mm-hmm.
So it was clear. I wasn't going to A&T to play football.
Yeah.
So resilience is about having the mentality. It's a mindset.
Yeah.
To bounce back, saying, this is my new normal now.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how am I going to thrive and be successful in my new normal with the conditions or the challenges or what I have?
Yeah.
So, and I'll just say it like this. I know this is not probably. So when you get what you get, when you got what you got, what do you do with it? And
yeah.
That's it.
And it's so like you hitting a lot on, nails, as far as hitting on a nail, and just kind of trigger some thoughts, man, because, I'm still somewhat of a young parent, I got 11-year-old daughter, 5-year-old son, so it's a lot more parenting that that I'm gonna definitely have to navigate. But, one thing that I learned, I'm still learning, right? And this kind of goes along with your thoughts around resilience is, it's not necessary for me to teach my kid how to be a doctor, right? Or to, do this or become this, right? It's pretty much, can I teach you how to get back up?
That's it.
You know what I'm saying? Can I, like, at the end of the day, can I teach you how, when you fall, because you're going to fall, you are going to fall, how to get back up. And, one thing that I thought about, and I would say this pandemic has allowed me to reflect a lot on a lot of different things. And, as you mentioned, far as resilience, I think that the underlying theme there is accepting what has happened and then moving on.
Yes, sir.
And not being in this type of denial that, oh, what you mean, Auntie? Like, I'm we, you know what I'm saying? Like,
well, don't get that victim mentality.
Yeah.
A lot of us, when something happens to us, we like to blame everybody around us.
Yeah.
You can do that, and you can stay in that place. It's not going to benefit you any.
Exactly. It's not. And once you're able to get over that, and stop being in denial, like, okay, accept what has occurred and move forward. Move forward, man. So that's really, really, really awesome there, man. Patrick, talk about a little bit, because again, all this is based on, I would say, this secret sauce that you kind of mentioned around humility, authenticity, resilience, and persistent faith around this HARP method, man. And so I'm wondering, again, talk to us a little bit about the HARP method, the services, that you provide through that.
Yeah, man. So everything, the foundation of everything from leadership, as I talked about, the core of it is I learned from my dad.
Mm-hmm.
So it went from all the stuff that he got on my nerves talking about. And that's the other thing that, he got on my nerves. And then even as I was writing the book, I said, I can't even believe I'm writing a book about the things that he said. So then it birthed into Hold Your Corner, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then Hold Your Corner birthed the HARP method.
Yeah.
Like you said, humility, authenticity, resilience, and persistent faith. And Jay, what I'm saying is, it doesn't matter if it's 2021 or 1960, whatever.
Yeah.
The core principles of leadership have not and will not change.
Yeah.
Now, the strategies and how you lead
mm-hmm.
will change because our society is changing. It's just different generation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But the core principles of I just feel like that's why it's the HARP method.
Griffin,
that you have to have humility.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be authentic. You got to be resilient, and whether you realize it or not, I don't know who your God is.
Yeah.
But you got to have some faith, because if you think that anything you accomplish is because of you, you're sadly mistaken, right?
Yeah, my man.
So for me, I trust in the Lord. Like you said at the very beginning, you got to trust Him.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I look at that, to me, that's a formula for successful leadership.
Yeah.
And so I do that in the ways of motivational speaking.
Mm-hmm.
I do workshops, seminars. I have several signature talks, but my real focus is modern leadership.
Okay.
And so if you want to know more about, I have go to my website, www.heartmethod.com.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do, if anybody wants to do a free consultation of some individual coaching sessions, group coaching sessions, whatever it is, that's what we do. We're here to, the same purpose you have is to help others to meet their fullest potential.
Yeah.
And so that's how the Heart Method came. It all came from Hold Your Corner, but we just truly feel like these principles have got to be, they have to resonate somewhere to have be a successful leader.
Yeah, it's so, man, like, come on, man, like, happy family, I would say it's so needed, and I'm saying it because, one, being in leadership, and even, I mean, if I count the time in corporate America, okay, that's 7, but even, as I think about everything I did outside, either starting this business or starting this initiative, what I did in college and everything, like, there's so many leadership or leader times or moments that you can pull to or pull from, to kind of get you over. But, one thing, again, as you kind of mentioned, and I was so kind of excited as you mentioned, because I mentor a lot at work. And again, to understand that every day that you're interviewing, like, don't get ready when you see the post. I try to kind of give this theory that there's 2 types of people in this world. There are those that get ready, and then those that stay ready. You know what I'm saying? Sure. You got to stay ready. How bad do you want it? And when I think about it, especially like culturally, now I think leadership has been removed or replaced with boss. And if everybody want to be a boss. You know what I'm saying? I'm a boss. And again, there's nothing wrong with, the underlying theme of being an entrepreneur or really kind of going after things that you want to go after. But to your point, and I love, again, the core principles, we're missing this thing about humility.
Yeah, that's where it starts at.
Yes.
It starts with humility because, it's not about your title. It's not about it's about helping others.
Yeah.
To reach their full. Leadership isn't about me.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times that's where people miss it. Because I have a title, you're going to listen, you're going to do. You will never be successful.
Yeah.
You got to have a home and always know you're willing to open to learn.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's like you haven't arrived yet. There's so much learning. There's so much more you can do. And that's one thing. I'm a life learner, and I really I believe that has helped me and has benefited me so many different ways, whether at work or whether, learning this new skill and to understand that it's going to take work. It's going to take you asking someone that, hey, I need some help. The simplest thing as I tell, and again, not to pick on my kids, but kind of reminding myself as my father as a preacher, kind of talking about us when he was in the pulpit, but kind of going as simple as telling my daughter, like, make sure if you need help, say you need help. You gotta ask. People
want to know that you're people need to know you're human just like them.
Yes.
That's you got to be able to meet people where they are.
Yeah.
And if you always, and what I always say this, Jay, is one thing that just turns me off, and I know it turns me off, I know it turns everybody off, is that person who has to be the smartest person in the room.
Yeah, man.
They got to answer for it. You know what? We all in this life, we're still learning.
Yeah, man.
We're still learning something new every day.
Yeah, man. Oh, good. I'm happy family, man. We can talk all day. Again, we're talking to Patrick Griffin, the author of Hold Your Corner, discovering the secrets to successful leadership through humility, authenticity, resilience, and persistent faith. Mr. Patrick Griffin. Patrick, what's next, man? I feel like there's so much next with you, or is another book or another series? Like, what's next that you can provide to us, man?
Yeah, there is another book that's going to be in the works. I'm working on that outline as we speak. bring that up. But I do think another book is in the works. But I really think this whole modern leadership.
Yeah.
There's two areas. So when you deal with somebody like me, you just never know.
Yeah.
Whatever the Lord, wherever He leads me, I go, because I'm one of these people. I had a friend who said, Pastor Griffin, my God, they said, do you just wake up every day with a new idea? And I think that's how you should. That's how we should operate, because you just. But for now, it's really. I'm excited that we have vaccines.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited that we have. I think the light is at the end of the tunnel, that we can get back to some normalcy. I know. I don't think everything go back to how it was.
Sure.
Getting back out on the circuit, speaking, coaching, and really driving home this whole modern leadership, what that looks like.
Yeah.
That's what I really am ready to move into. So my two niche audiences are corporate America, and man, I have a passion for our young African, especially our Black males, but all our youth.
Yeah.
Just to let them know you can make it.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
You can make it.
Happy Hood. Again, you're listening to Happy Hood, the podcast, season 4. Happy living. It's a state of mind. I want to thank our guest, Patrick Griffin, for joining us. Been such a blessing, my man. I look forward to continue connecting with you, and let's continue to do this, man. So much nuggets out there. Again, you can go purchase this book. Hold Your Corner is available on Amazon, available on the website. So definitely go purchase it. And as always, Happily family, you already know, love God, love yourself, love your neighbor.